Which Week 11 NFL games should you bet before it's too late? Welcome, football fans, gridiron gamblers, and degenerates. It's Mitch here with your early Week 11 NFL best bets versus the spread. This is the video where I break down the spreads that pop to me, the games that I'm thinking about betting in Week 11. If that sounds good, don't forget to spike the like button, and don't be a jabroni, bro. Subscribe to the channel for all of my best bets, including spreads, totals, props, teasers, and more here on Money Mitch. It's time to make some money in Week 11. So let's break down the games, including Thursday Night Football, all the way through prime time. Get in the comments and let me know which games, which spreads shout at you. Okay, let's go first with Thursday Night Football. As we always do, no matter what, even if we don't like the game very much, we're going to break it down because Thursday has actually been really good to us this year in terms of our breakdowns. I think I've had a really good feel for Thursday Night Football. For whatever reason this year, it's been a wacky year. It's been a wild year. It's been an inconsistent year. Some weeks it's all about favorites. Some weeks it's all about underdogs. Some weeks it's just a theme, man. It's just crazy. But Thursday has been pretty consistent. Last week we really liked the Raiders, and they nearly won that game. This week, guess who plays on Thursday night, guys? Yes, the Money Mitch team. That is my team, the New England Patriots, at home versus the New York Jets. A big primetime celebration moment of May. That's what it all is, right? It's going to be the primetime spotlight for the MVP candidate, Drake May. And I think the Patriots, who in this era don't really get a lot of these opportunities, like these primetime opportunities, this Patriots team in particular, I think has only played on primetime once this year. It was at Buffalo. They went in, they made a statement. I think it's a Thursday night, short week. Typically, the more talented teams come and rise to the occasion, and typically those teams at home get it done. And I think the Patriots are no different. Yes, they are coming off a big win over the Bucs, a big road win over the Bucs, and a lot of people thought that was some sort of statement. Not really me, because I expected the Patriots to win that game even as underdogs against a beat-up Buccaneer team. This may be even more of a statement to go out, cover this spread, a massive spread, as a big favorite at home, even against a bad football team. The Jets are arguably the worst team in football. Now, they have won a couple games recently, which is good for the Jets. Like, congratulations. But last week, just to put it into context, they won a game where they threw for like 54 yards, and one of the completions was a 42-yard screen. So you can probably do the math as to what Justin Fields was able to do against the Cleveland defense at home, nonetheless. They only won that game because they got a punt return and a kick return. The Browns are one of the worst teams in football. Now, I understand they have a good defense, but still one of the worst teams in the league, and the Browns find ways to lose that game, right? The New England Patriots are a focused football team. I didn't get any sort of inclination, any sort of feeling that the Patriots were all high and mighty in celebration after they beat the Bucs. It was just another day at the office for this Patriots team led by one of the best leaders in the NFL, Mike Vrabel. I expect the Patriots to win this game by multiple touchdowns as a Pats fan, and as somebody that's kind of been dialed in on what they're able to do all year long and been kind of telling you guys how good Drake May is, how good this Patriots team is. And I think the Jets are really bad, and I think the Patriots are a good football team, a legitimate contending football team. They might be the best team in their conference. They're at home here after a road trip, after a big win. The fan base is going to be electric. They're going to be fired up. It's the Jets, who the Patriots hate, who the fan base hates. And they're playing an offense that is completely centered around running the ball. The New York Jets cannot do anything when they can't run the ball. The Patriots are the #1 team in football in yards allowed against the run. They're also, I believe, haven't looked after week 10, but I believe they're still first in yards per attempt allowed to the running back position, to the running game in general. Now, this is a different bit of flavor with Justin Fields, but the Patriots did handle Josh Allen earlier in the year in terms of quarterback runs. I think as long as the Patriots' run defense, which has been one of the most consistent things in football this year, comes to play, I'm not sure how the Jets score more than like 14 points. I really can't see it, especially after they just got all the special teams touchdowns last week. Like they got a kick return and a punt return last week. They're not going to do that 2 games in a row, guys. That's just not going to happen. That's not how the NFL works, right? So if the Patriots stop the run, they're going to be able to get to Justin Fields. Justin Fields is erratic. He's a slow processor. Gonzalez has been really good against Garrett Wilson throughout his NFL career so far at limiting him throughout these games. I don't think they have any weapons beyond that in the passing game. I think the Patriots defense dominates this game completely. Fields has had numerous games where he's taking too many sacks, numerous games where they can't throw the ball. And now they're facing a Patriots defense that doesn't let you run it. On the other side, the Jets are a team that traded Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner, and Cleveland was an offense that really couldn't truly take advantage of that. And even Cleveland scored 20 points on the road. A team in Cleveland who we talked about last week hadn't scored 20 points outside of that game against the Dolphins. That was the only time they scored. They actually scored 31, but that was the only time they scored more than 17. So this Jets defense isn't the same without the big man in the middle. They're not the same without Sauce on the outside. And it's only going to allow Drake May to feast on this defense that is, to me, far too simple. They play too much man coverage. Their run defense without Quinnen Williams isn't the same. That should get Travion Henderson cooking on the ground for more explosives. Kayshon Boutte could be back for the Patriots. Ramondre Stevenson could be back for the Patriots. This just feels like the perfect spot for New England to just absolutely hammer a team. They've been beating down Tennessee. They beat down Cleveland. They beat down Carolina. They've taken care of these bad teams all season. And I think they do it again. This is a divisional opponent, but it's at home against one of the worst teams in the league. And it's a new coaching staff. So there isn't really a lot of familiarity between the staffs either. So I think the Patriots punish the Jets in this game. I think they win by like 30-14 or something, like 30 to, I don't know. I want to say 17 is too many points for the Jets. Like, I really don't think they're going to score more than 14 points. I think this is going to be 31-14. I really do. So I'm going to take the Patriots here to win this game, to cover the spread, probably as our first best bet of the week. Like, I don't do Thursday nights just because, but I probably would bet this game. Like, I probably would bet this game. The Patriots have won us a lot of money this year. All right, let's get to Sunday. The first matchup, I believe, is in Madrid, if I'm not mistaken. It's definitely in Spain. 47.5 is the total for the Dolphins and the Commanders. Miami is minus 2.5. I wanted to just talk about this game because it's a big game. Like, it's a spotlight game. It's a primetime game. Neither of these teams are very good, but it's worth talking about. I don't know if I'll make it like a best bet, but I do kind of like the Dolphins. I know that they're coming off a huge win against the Bills, and they threw their Super Bowl celebration in the locker room, but I just kind of feel like they're more dialed in right now. And maybe this is a team that can take those vibes and carry it to Europe and carry it to a atmosphere in Spain and have some fun with it. Like, and the other thing I like is Mike McDaniel. Like, Mike McDaniel has been coaching his butt off. A lot of people want this guy fired, but honestly, right now, he's coaching for his job. He's coaching to impress the ownership. He's coaching to impress the fan base. And right now, Dan Quinn is kind of in panic mode. He's switching to become the defensive coordinator, to maybe be the defensive play caller, because that's how bad the Commanders' defense is. They gave up a historic day to the Detroit Lions on Sunday, guys. A lot of you probably didn't realize this. We made Detroit a best bet last week. That was one of the things we got right. This Commanders defense might be the worst defense in football in their current form. Their edge rushers are the weakest in football. Javon Kinlaw might be suspended. Is it Javon Kinlaw or Daron Payne? I believe it was Kinlaw who punched the ref in the face. But I think both of them are, not exactly. And that's the thing with Washington, right? They're in this weird mental space where last year they were in the NFC Championship. This year, they were the darlings of the offseason. Deebo Samuel, Laramie Tunzel, Von Miller, big name, big name, big name. We're loading up. Sign Terry McLaurin. Let's go. Jaden Daniels, hype train. And yeah, Cliff can still do some things on offense and call some nice plays. And this will be a fun game from that standpoint. Marcus Mariota, he's not been bad. Like, he's not the reason they're losing. The quarterback position is not the reason, right? Terry McLaurin is a big reason, and he's not expected to play in this game. Terry McLaurin, without him, they have no verticality. They have no downfield threat. The Dolphins just played a team exactly like that, with a strong running game and a strong screen game that has a mobile quarterback, and they just beat the absolute brakes off the Buffalo Bills in Miami. Miami's defense is going to be prepared. I've actually been really impressed by this Dolphins defensive coordinator. He is not working with a lot of talent. Like, this is not an extremely talented secondary, especially in Miami. And I think they've been doing a really good job. They've actually been getting better and better and better and better to me. From my eyes, at least. I don't know what you guys think, but I think the Commanders are a team that's trending down. I think they're a team with really bad vibes. I think Miami has been there, but I think they've gone through that. And I think they've come out the other side much more vibrant. Jalen Waddle's playing hard. Devon Ashane's running hard. Tua's not playing terribly. And Mike McDaniel, he just finds ways to get this offense cooking. And against a Commanders team that likes to stay in man coverage and has slow linebackers against a speedy Miami offense, I feel like that's a really bad matchup. And on the other side, I just like the Dolphins defense, how they're playing, how they're defending this style of offense. They just played a Bills team with no deep threat, right? That wants to run the ball. That's what the Commanders want to do. And I think the Dolphins can defend it better. So I'm going to lean towards Miami in this spot as a short favorite in a European game with a little flavor and a little fun. I think the Dolphins come out on top because they're the team having more fun right now. So I'm going to take Miami here as an early best bet. Next, the Minnesota Vikings at home minus a field goal against the Chicago Bears. I kind of like the Dolphins. I already talked about the Dolphins, Mitch. I kind of like the Vikings here at home. Chicago, to me, is like the most overrated, terrible 6-3 team I've ever seen. Like, they are not a good team. They were down by 10 against the New York Giants at home. Think about that for a second. And I think this is a great spot to catch the Vikings. The Vikings are back at home once again after losing to a really talented Ravens team. Like, the Ravens kind of looked on defense how we thought they would look before the year. They made the Vikings offense at full strength look pretty pathetic for most of the day, and they caused multiple rookie mistakes from J.J. McCarthy. Here's my thing, though. We saw the Vikings go to Chicago in the first week of the season, a Monday Night Football game, a primetime spot in Chicago, and the Vikings won that game in comeback fashion. They won 27-24, if I'm not mistaken. Chicago has been a good running team this year, and that's kind of their bread and butter, right? And Chicago is a team that doesn't have a defense. So the way that I look at this game is the Vikings have been much improved against the run since their bye week, against Detroit and Baltimore, two legitimate teams who can run the ball, okay? On top of that, they did a pretty damn good job against Lamar Jackson. They held him under 200 yards. Not a lot of teams are able to do that against Lamar Jackson. They're healthy on defense. Flores is one of the best coordinators in football, especially after he plays you once and he gets you again. He's going to be able to see how Caleb's season has gone and tracked throughout the season with Ben Johnson and see where the areas of weakness are and pick on that. I'm sure there'll be a ton of blitzes. I'm sure that processing speed is going to be sped up with Brian Flores at home with the crowd noise. with that Minnesota environment, right? So I'm pretty certain Minnesota is going to have a really good defensive game plan here. And I just feel like this is one of the defenses that Kevin O'Connell can scheme up and give JJ McCarthy a lot of easy throws and easy completions and big chunk gains. Like, I feel like we're in this pocket right now where the Bears are perfectly at that spot to fade them. They're on a bit of a win streak. They're 6-3. People are starting to believe in Ben Johnson, the hype of Caleb Williams. But they're not looking deep enough at who they've played, at how they've performed, at how inconsistent this Caleb Williams is. And then at the same time, the Vikings just beat the Lions in Detroit. And I think people are going to forget about it because they just lost to the Ravens at home. But I think there's this pocket of the Ravens being slightly underrated. So it's kind of that perfect mix of things where it's like Kevin O'Connell with Justin Jefferson coming off a bad game. They're going to run the ball better against the Bears because they're really bad against the run. They're going to be able to play complementary football with JJ McCarthy, which is what he needs to win a game. And there's going to be plenty of plays for him to make explosive throws because the Bears secondary is bad. They barely slowed down Jackson Dart last week. So I kind of think this is a perfect spot for the Vikings. Count on Brian Flores at home with his defense to slow down Caleb and give him fits. And on the other side, count on Kevin O'Connell to be able to outcoach and outmaneuver Dennis Allen with a beat-up defense, a poor pass rush, and a weak run defense. So I like Minnesota in this spot. I would take them -3. Next, the Carolina Panthers at the Atlanta Falcons. I like Carolina getting 3.5. Carolina beat the Falcons earlier in the year 30-0. And that was probably the worst quarterback performance I've seen all season. Michael Penix pissed down his leg at Carolina. Carolina is coming off an atrocious divisional loss against the New Orleans Saints, which I felt was fairly a predictable upset. I didn't predict the Panthers to lose, but I did like the Saints last week in our early best bets, plus like 5.5 or something like that. So I definitely thought that game would be really competitive, and I think Tyler Shuck has been a little underrated by a lot of people. Now, I like Carolina because of the matchup. Carolina and Atlanta are matchup teams. Carolina, what do they do well on offense and defense? They run the ball well, and they stop the run well. Atlanta, what do they do well? Well, they run the ball well with Bijan Robinson, and they stop the pass well. Okay, so how does that sound to you? Carolina's a team that what they can do on defense is stop the run, right? So if they can slow down Bijan Robinson with big Derek Brown and company and force Michael Penix to beat them from the pocket consistently, J.C. Horn is a big physical corner that you can match up on Drake London on the perimeter at times. Drake London's been on fire, by the way. I don't expect him to have a bad game by any means, but just saying. So I look at Carolina's defense as a pretty tough matchup for the Atlanta offense because I think they can slow down the bread and butter of the Falcons that gets everything cooking for their offense, which is Bijan and the Falcons' rushing attack. Falcons also low-key have some pretty bad offensive line injuries. Michael Penix is also extremely erratic with his accuracy, his consistency. Last week, I thought he looked really bad at times against the Colts. Took a lot of sacks, too. Felt like some really bad moments in that game. A lot of incompletions that were just simply on him missing the receiver, right? The mechanics are off. It's like, it's bad. It's sloppy. And on the other side, Rico Dowdle, when he can run it, the Panthers can win the game. Now, I really like the Falcons' pass defense. We've talked at length about that weekly. Like, that was one of the areas. They got Daniel Jones. I think they sacked him like 7 times, something like that. But they allowed Jonathan Taylor to run for like 225 yards. And the Panthers are one of the best running teams in football. And you still got to deal with Tetero and McMillan on the outside. You can't like overplay it, right? And it just feels like the Panthers are that divisional opponent for the Falcons. There's a reason it was 30-0. Because I think it's a bad matchup. I think the Panthers would rather play the Falcons than they would rather play the Saints. Like, the Saints are a more difficult matchup for them, right? So sometimes that's what happens in a division. So even if the Falcons win the game, I think it will be by like 2 or 3 or 1. Like, I think it will be a really close game. This kind of feels like a 20-17 football game. So getting the hook in this matchup, I think is really, really key. Because at a fundamental level, I think the Panthers are a tough matchup for the Falcons. So give me Carolina plus 3.5. Next, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh's at home. I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers will lose this game. They're coming off 2 consecutive losses in sort of embarrassing primetime fashion. They lost to the Chargers in embarrassing primetime fashion where I thought they could win that game. And then against the Packers, I thought they would be all in on their effort for Aaron Rodgers to upset the Packers. Neither of those things happened, and the Mike Tomlin voodoo is running out. I think the Steelers will win this game because the Bengals defense is really bad. But 5.5 is a lot in this game. 5.5 is a lot. Have we watched the Bengals offense lately? The Bengals offense is scoring 30 points a game with Joe Flacco. And Joe Flacco last time against the Steelers absolutely cooked Pittsburgh. Like, cooked them. Because they can't cover Jamar Chase and they can't cover T. Higgins. Sometimes football is really simple. Right? Like, Joe Flacco is going to move the ball. And the Bengals are off of a bye. Now they might even have that spark in the back of their minds that Joe Burrow could be coming back, right? Like, he spoke today. He's at the podium talking about playoffs. He's talking about opening his practice window. So the Bengals are going to be fired up. Maybe they did make some adjustments defensively or got a little healthier defensively, Trey Hendrickson, etc. They didn't trade him for a reason, right? The Steelers' offense has been very up and down and inconsistent. I do expect them to be able to move the ball pretty well against one of the worst defenses in football in Cincinnati at home. But like 5.5 in a divisional game, in a game where the Bengals beat the Steelers the last time they played, and it was like 4 weeks ago. Like, I don't know. I kind of like the Bengals with 5. I just think 5.5. I like the number. I think that's too many points. I think this is probably like a 27-23 football game. I think this is probably like a 28-24 football game. I think this is decided by 3 or 4 points. I think Flacco keeps him in it the whole game. I think Jamar Chase goes crazy. He's rested. T. Higgins, Chase Brown's running the ball better. The Steelers didn't, even against a Chargers O-line that they can't block anything. They have nobody out there. Like, Herbert was still able to do some big things, and Vidal even ran the ball well, and the Chargers eventually broke it down, and then Rodgers just looked horrible. Like, Rodgers looked horrendous. Like, honestly, he looked the worst all year. Like, it looked like he was falling apart physically. He was making mental errors that you never see him make. He took a safety early in the game. It was atrocious, throwing bad interceptions. Like, I don't know, man. Like, you got to get past the Mike Tomlin voodoo, but 5.5 is just too many points for Joe Flacco the way he's playing, and Jamar Chase. Like, Jamar Chase is uncoverable. Like, Deion Sanders couldn't cover this guy. Next, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo minus 5.5. This is too many points. It's too many points. Like, the Bills are not this good to be laying 5.5. The Patriots were 2.5-point underdogs against Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay. I understand this is in Buffalo, one of the best home fields in the league. I get that. Okay, I get that. But the Patriots beat the Bills. The Bills lost to the Dolphins by 17 points. The Bills are not this juggernaut team they were last year right now. Yeah, they beat the Chiefs. Congratulations. That's their Super Bowl. They match up really well with the Chiefs, as we've broken down numerous times. Let's think about this matchup. The Bucs might be healthier in this game, right? Like, in terms of Bucky Irving probably won't play, but there's a chance. Chris Godwin probably won't play. But could Hassan Reddick come back for this defense and this pass rush? Maybe. The Bucs aren't any less healthy than they were against the Patriots. And when you really think about it, right? The Patriots have what? A really good run defense. It makes the Bucs completely one-dimensional. At the same time, they have an elite CB1. They have a very good cornerback group. The Bills' defense is not as good as the Patriots' defense. And when you look at the Bills they don't have weapons. Like, they have no passing weapons. The Bucs in this game, theoretically, should be able to just, like, man coverage the Bills to death. Their corners are really good. If it were not for the Patriots hitting multiple home run plays in that game, that's probably a field goal game. And I don't think that the Bills have like that sort of explosiveness. It's weird to say, but they don't. I mean, outside of James Cook running the ball, and the Bucs we know are very, very good against the run. They're very, very good off against the run. They're coming off a loss. Baker's an underdog. That's when you like to take him, right? The Bills play a lot of zone coverage, and right now the Bucs are really struggling against man-to-man because their receiving core is beat up. So they don't have, outside of Emeka Egbuka, like a really awesome receiving core. But against zone, he's going to pick you apart, right? Throw it to Rachaad White underneath, Cade Otton underneath, Emeka Egbuka, Tez Johnson. And the Bills don't really trust their secondary enough to play a lot of man-to-man. Sure, they got a pretty good pass rush. That's fair. But I do think the Bucs will have more balance in this game than they did against the Patriots. And I just don't know, like, this Bucs defense is really good, guys. They can blitz you. They can cover you. They can stop the run. This is a legitimate defense. A legitimate defense. I just feel like the Bucs are too good and the Bills are too flawed to not take 5.5. I would expect the Bills to win this game in a bounce back spot at home. I think they can do enough here. But 5.5 is too many points. I think this is a 3 or 4 point game. So I like the Bucs here getting the points. I'm not going to lie. I do. Next. The Los Angeles Chargers. -3 at Jacksonville. I like the Chargers. I think the Jags are not playing good right now. I just don't think they're playing good football. I don't like how they played against the Texans. I do think the Chargers defense is low-key the best defense that nobody really talks about. And the Texans have the best defense in football. And, you know, they spotted them 17 points. Davis Mills was able to come back and throw all over them. Like, the main area where Jacksonville has truly regressed is their defense. Their pass rush isn't the same. Davis Mills had plenty of time. They couldn't cover Nico Collins. They couldn't cover Dalton Schultz. Woody Marks had a good game. Like, the Texans have a bad offensive line. So do the Chargers. But the difference here is the Chargers have Justin Herbert and the Texans had Davis Mills. And the Chargers have really good receivers. Ladd McConkey. I know that Gadsden, their tight end, their rookie, got beat up. But Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston, right, they can find ways to move the ball through the air even without the kid. And their run game's been solid. Like, it's enough that you have to respect it, for sure. And defensively, the Chargers are very sound. Khalil Mack is playing great. Tart's playing great. Right? And then Henley and Derwin James. Their middle of the field coverage is very good. Trevor Lawrence is very inconsistent. The Jags do have a good run game, and that might give the Chargers some problems. But I think the pass game in this matchup favors the Chargers immensely. Immensely. Maybe Jacksonville can get more of a pass rush than... But again, like, Pittsburgh had a really good pass rush, and Herbert just overcame it. Like, I just think the Chargers are the more consistent team. They don't take stupid penalties like the Jags. Herbert's way better than Trevor Lawrence. They can throw the ball, and I just feel like Jacksonville, Travis Hunter's beat up. Brian Thomas didn't play. They're relying on Parker Washington to be their wide receiver 1. Is Brian Thomas going to play this week? Brenton Strange is out. I don't like Jacksonville's offensive line. I don't like how Jacksonville's playing. I think they were playing at one time like a top 12, top 15 team. But now they're like a top 24, top 23 team. Like, they're not playing very well, right? So I kind of like the Chargers. I do. I don't want to take them on the road. But it's a huge mismatch at quarterback, and I really believe in the mismatch that these two defenses are too. Like, the Chargers have the much better defense. So I'll take the Chargers. Next, I want to just talk about this game. Seattle at the Rams. The Rams, to me, are the best team in the NFL. Seattle is probably top 5 in my power rankings this coming week. I haven't fully decided, but I think they should be in there. This is a really good game. Seattle is better on the road. The Rams, it doesn't really feel like they have a preference. This is going to be a huge test for Seattle, I think, more than it is for the Rams. And, like, where are the Seahawks at? That's kind of like, because think about it this way. Seattle has looked extremely impressive, but Seattle has not played an elite team or like even like a good team and won, right? You think about their schedule. They lost to San Francisco when San Francisco was respectably healthy, right? I guess the Rams did too, but the Rams, actually lost to them when they were extremely beat up. So I guess that's a point in either direction. But like, I don't know. I look at Seattle and everyone's kind of asking questions about, oh, the Patriots haven't played anybody. It's not about who you've played. And by the way, the Patriots have now beat the Bucs and the Bills. But like, who have the Seahawks defeated? That's kind of my question. So you go through their schedule. They beat the Steelers. The Steelers are right now a playoff team, but they're not a good team by any standard. They beat the Saints. They beat the Cardinals twice. They beat Houston at home. They beat the Jags. Again, Jags, Steelers, kind of similar tier. They beat the crap out of the Commanders, who suck. They beat the Cardinals, again, like, they lost to the Bucs and they lost to the Niners. The only teams that I would consider to be good in the moment that they played them, the Bucs and the Niners. That's it. And the Bucs were kind of beat up. And the Niners lost Kittle in the first quarter and didn't have, their full roster in that game. So to me, it's like, yeah, they can beat the Jags and the Steelers. They're certainly better than those teams. And I do believe the Seahawks, the way they look right now, they are a top 5 team. But I need to see them beat a really good team like the Rams. I need to see it for myself because I haven't seen it. Maybe the Rams, you could make a similar argument, right? But the Rams, they beat the Colts. Maybe they shouldn't have, but they did. I think everyone kind of thought that they should have beaten the Eagles. I mean, that was kind of obvious. No, I don't know. Like, block field goal at the end of the game for a touchdown. I'm not sure about that, right? They did, just beat handily the 49ers. Who are not a great team with all their injuries, but they're a respectable team. So I feel like at home in LA, I still think I've got the hottest, best quarterback in the game, like arguably right now, him or Drake May, Matthew Stafford, probably the MVP. You've got Puka and Devontae. You've got one of the most consistent run games in the league. You've got a very good pass rush against a suspect offensive line. I think the difference is here being Seattle has a worse run game than the Rams. So I think more balance for the Rams is probably likely. I still like McVay over McDonald. I do. I think Stafford's better than Darnold. I think the overall weaponry of the Rams is a little bit better than Seattle's. JSN is amazing, but so is Puka, and they have Devontae Adams. And I think the biggest mismatch really, and I think it comes down to two things. I'm kind of getting a little bit too into the weeds, but it comes down to two things for me. Rams pass rush against Seattle's offensive line in passing situations. And then the Rams have a better run game. Those are the two areas that I would say the Rams are probably the side. Because, like, the way Seattle is structured as a offense, they're not like the Niners. I haven't seen Seattle just pick apart a defense. Just like 5 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards, 8 yards, 9 yards. The Rams are capable of that. The Rams are also capable of running the ball. The Rams are also capable of shot plays. Seattle is shot play, shot play, shot play, shot play, play action, play action, play action, bomb. The Rams have more consistency. They're not like the Niners against the Rams, where the Niners are like 5-yard completion to Kittle, 7-yard completion to McCaffrey, screen to McCaffrey, 3-yard run, 7 yards to Jennings, 6 yards to Bourne, right? Like the Niners are more systematic. The Seahawks have a lesser version of the Niners offense where it's like run for like 2 yards, play action crosser for 30. And the Rams are kind of structured where they're good against the run and they're good against deep passes. That's kind of what they do. Right? So I look at the Rams defensively and I think they're structured to take away what Seattle wants to do. And Seattle's going to have to morph into something closer to what the 49ers are to be able to take advantage of the Rams' defensive weaknesses. And I just feel like right now, it doesn't matter the defense. Like Seattle is really good on defense. They have a really good pass rush. Matthew Stafford's going to find a way to move the ball. Puka Nacua is going to find a way to get open. Devontae Adams is going to find a way to make a big catch. Kyron Williams is playing really well. Like, I just think the Rams are too good right now. So I would side with the Rams in probably what is the game of the week here in LA under a field goal. If we're getting to like 3.5, that's where it becomes a little tough. But under a field goal or at 3, I would take LA. And then the final game I want to talk about here is the Chiefs and the Broncos. Chiefs minus 3.5. I lean Denver with the 3.5. I think this is a coin flip game. Denver's coming off of 10 days of rest, a terrible performance against the Raiders. The Chiefs are coming off of a bye. It does scare me to fade the Chiefs off of a bye. But, and I also need to see where Pat Surtain is out, or is at, I should say, in terms of his recovery and his health. But I think this is scary for the Chiefs. The Broncos have a vicious pass rush. Denver is at home. The Chiefs have no run game whatsoever. And I just think Mahomes is going to be under a ton of pressure. Now, at the same time, I think that the Chiefs defense should do a good job against the Broncos because the Broncos offense is bad. Bo Nix is not very good. But the one thing I can say about Denver is they do have Sean Payton. They do have a good offensive line. And I do think that the Broncos can win that offensive line, defensive line matchup at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. So whenever you give me that edge and I have the home team, I kind of want to take the 3.5. I kind of want to take that. Like the Chiefs might win by a field goal. Last year in this game in Denver, if I'm not mistaken, the Chiefs won by a blocked field goal. That's how they won the game. I think they won by like 1 point. And then the second game they played, the Broncos destroyed the Chiefs' backups. So they didn't even play a second time. But Sean Payton and the Broncos have done a very good job against the Chiefs. If we were to look at the history, like I think a 3.5 with either one of these teams is the side. Like I think this is going to be a close game. I know Denver looked really bad against the Raiders, but again, like there were certain things about the Raiders that you thought they could hang in against the Broncos and just how like ugly the Broncos are as a team. But that's just how they play, I think, every game. Like that's just how every Broncos game is going to be, no matter kind of who the opponent is, because their defense is really, really good. Now, last year, again, 38-0, they beat the backups. 16-14 was the other game, okay? Kansas City was at home for that game. That was an Arrowhead, by the way, 16-14. The game previous to that, the Broncos beat the Chiefs in October of 2023 with Russell Wilson, 24-9. So, the last 2 games they played against each other, 24-9, Russell Wilson's Broncos, 16-14, Mahomes over Bo Nix. Low scoring games with Vance Joseph versus Andy Reid. Now, the Chiefs do have a better passing game now, right? That's true. But the Broncos, man, that defense is tough. 19-8 was the game previous to that. On a Thursday night, the Chiefs won 19-8. Ugly game. So I just think 3.5 is probably bound to be an under, bound to be a low-scoring game. I like the 3.5. This is likely to be a field goal game here, and Denver should be able to hang in it. So those are my early best bets, guys. for week number 11. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, Gronk, spike the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, jabroni, and good luck on your bets. Peace.